Hi, welcome to the video. Today, once again, we are using the Lavender Fields palette. We are focusing mostly in the greens. So if you want to see how we created this look using this palette, don't just keep watching. Dog noises, extra bonus. Good morning. Hi, I know we said we weren't going to say good morning, but guess what? We always end up doing it. So hi, welcome to the video. My name is Vicki. We're going to use the Lavender Fields palette because it seems these Simply Posh palettes seem to be just like drawing me into them. So we're going to just lean right into it and do it. If you see me looking kind of crazy, we're working with 2 cameras today. Who knows? We may get good at this after all. Despite myself. Have my skincare on. I have not completed. I've not finished my sunscreen and all that neato stuff. We will do that as we go. Did you have a good 4th of July? I'd like to say that we did. However, came within an ace of losing a good dog. By that I mean if you know anything about service dogs and guards and stuff like that, once they get spooked, they can no longer be serviced, be used as service, and we came very close. Compliments of our wonderful neighbors who just don't know when to quit. We came very close to losing Ella because they stressed her to her limit. She will be medicated from here on in. We're going to go into Blossom right here. BK Beauty brush. We're going to just tap into that. And I have a Whoosh Beauty brush that kind of does this, but I keep forgetting that I have it until I use it. But it just is made for the crease. And it just does this part for you. We did do a little bit of reset on the vanity. It's still a slow process because there's still just, I'm still just limited on what I can do all at one time. So let's just keep going. We're going to go into, I cannot see the name. We're going to, it's this shade right here. Just going to dip a brush in, and I'll tell you the name in here in just a minute. Listen, when I'm complaining about fireworks, understand, I get it. You know, we've done it for years and centuries and decades, but also, number one, we're in an area where they're restricted due to our houses being so close together. And we know more. You know, we've had damage done to the property when fireworks were done probably a good half mile to a mile down the road. So, you know, if it goes up and blows up, it's going to come back down somewhere. And it's also going to, you know, potentially, it scares the daylights out of animals. I used to not be, you know, I would just give Cinda and Cooper Benadryl and they were fine. Watching Ella the other night just did something to me. There was just, that reaction is just torture. And, you know, she not being able to explain to her, and it was just too much for me. It was too much. My ear, it sent me into vertigo, which made my next day misery. And then before it was even daytime, they're still shooting them off. Why? Why? You know, they're just, I just don't, I don't get it. And, you know, like I said, when we were kids, we shot them off. And I remember, we're going to go right here with the, it's a Singe Beauty fluffy, big fluffy brush. You know, we had fun. We mostly had sparklers. But then we also did not know. You know, we had, my dad was a huge fan of M80s, not going to lie to you. He liked those. He, you know, but here's the thing. Not excusing that by any means. Of course, we lived in Radcliffe then, just outside of Fort Knox, back when it was an armor school. So, you know, there were tanks, so, and live fire and night maneuvers and all that neat stuff. So you didn't really, it wasn't really much different than your everyday thing. But as time has gone on, we have learned so much, things that are so different, things that, you know, we've learned about how these things affect animals, that, you know, these bits and pieces of trash and paper have to go somewhere. So, you know, we're going to take this, dip into this shade, just because we need some extra pretty. There it is. And, you know, I'm not saying that we should stop, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there has to come a measure of wisdom with what we are doing, because otherwise, you know, it's just becoming more and more destructive. Wow, that's pretty. It's a very soft, whoa. Loaded a little too much. There has to be a measure of wisdom. There just has to be. Okay, so before we finish up, it's kind of been one of those mornings where things just kind of go off the rails. We dropped our box of cards again the other day when we were resetting the vanity, so it may be one we've already read. What that means is that we just need to hear it again, okay? The Lord is gracious and full of compassion, Psalm 145 and 8. I think that was from our last video, but it's okay. So, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Let me give you the finished look. Things are a little, they need something, and part of it is powdered down, but we're going to give it just a bit to dry down a little more before we do that. So we're shiny. It'll be okay. The pepperonis are ready to go outside, so we're going to let them do that. For foundation, today we used the Natasha Denona High Glam foundation. It just went phew, right out of my brain. Also, the powder foundation that we've been doing, mixing them together, does work. For blush, y'all, I did the e.l.f. blushes like I have been doing, but I picked up this MAC blush. Let me show you. Divinely, I can't see. Plush, I think is the, yeah. I had to tone it back down just because it was a little bit much, but I honestly could have worn it like I had it, because I liked it really well. It is beautiful. It goes into the skin amazingly well. It's our finished look. Hope that you have a good day. Should have pulled it down a little bit further with the foundation. We may do that later. We may not, because we may not go anywhere today. If need be, we'll adjust things. And I also, I sprayed Max Fix Plus, but I have not put any powder on. So that's where that is. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for listening to me gripe about things that bother me. The gist of what I was trying to say is that as we learn better, we need to do better. And, we've learned over the years the effects of, fireworks on different people, on our animals, and things of this nature. And as a community, as neighbors, stuff like that. I get some people live out in the country and what you're doing really don't bother anybody. I get it. I really do. I'm from there. But when you live in a city in close proximity, like I can pitch a rock and hit both of my neighbors' houses. And by pitch, I mean just literally go, pshoo. There's a driveway that separates our houses. So if they were, which they weren't, if they are setting off fireworks, it's rocking my house. As it stands, it was the people that were way behind, that live way over behind me at the edge of my property that were causing all of the commotion. And it's like, really think about somebody else. That's all that I'm asking. Take other people into consideration. I know it's a gripey whiny, but I hope that that y'all had a good holiday. We will see you in the next video. Bye.